Okay, so discuss the institutional, relationship between the president and the prime minister as per the Indian constitution text, discuss their changing role in the present context. Okay, so here, institutional relationship between the prime minister and president in India, so I will start from the introduction, okay, so the Indian constitution establishes, a parliamentary system of government where the president is the constitutional head of a state, right, while the the president is the constitutional head of a state, right, and the prime minister is what is the head of the government, right. So the relationship between the president and the prime minister is defined by constitutional provisions, right, conventions and political realities. Over time here, their roles have evolved due to political dynamics and judicial interpretation, right. So constitutional relationship between president and prime minister is what constitution provisions here, article 52 and 53. The president is the head of the state. The president is the head of the state and exercises executive power, right? And exercises executive power, but this power is executed by the Council of Ministers, headed by PM. So Article 74A, 74(1) is what there shall be a Council of Ministers, with the PM as its head to aim and advise the president, who shall act according to the advice. Right. Article here 75(1), the president appoints, the prime minister and the the prime minister and the PM appoints. Right, here 75 article is what the president appoints the prime minister, right, and the PM appoints other ministers, right. Okay, so here article 75(2) is what ministers hold office during the pleasure of the president. Article 75(3) is what the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, meaning the president cannot act independently. Article 78 is what here the prime minister communicates all decisions of the government to the president and provides necessary information when it requires. Okay, so the functional relationship is what here, appointment of PM and ministers here, the president appoints the PM. The president appoints the PM, but in reality he must appoint the leader of the majority party, right. So executive power execution is what, while the president formally holds executive power, the real authority lies and the PM and the Council of Ministers, right. So ordinary making power here, article 123, the president issues ordinance only on the advice of the Council of Ministers, right. Summoning and dissolution of parliament, the president summons and dissolves the Lok Sabha based on the PM's advice. So changing role of the president and PM in the present context. So A is what here, a shift in power dynamics. So dominant prime minister here, example like Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi and Narendra Modi, strong PMs have led governments where president's role remained largely ceremonial. Okay, so here collisions era 1989, right, 1989 and 2014, 1989 to 2014 collision era. So during collision governments here, president example like K.R. Narayan here and APJ Abdul Kalam exercises great discretion, especially is appointing PMs and ensuring stability, right. So judicial interpretation strengthening the PM's role here, Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab 1974. The Supreme Court here ruled that the president must act on the advice of the council minister. So here K.R. Singh versus Union of India, right, 1989, the president cannot refuse mercy petition arbitrarily. Okay, they must follow government recommendation. S.R. Bamai case 1994 limited the president here, the president's power to impose president's rules. Article 356 limited the president's power to impose president's rules. Article 356 without valid reason, right. Okay, so president's role in decent political developments here, president's discretion in hung parliaments. When no party has a majority, the president can invite a leader to form the government. Example, Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 1996. Okay, so use of presidential powers in policy matters. Okay, presidents like here Pranab Mukherjee played a key advisory role in major policy decisions. So the conclusion of the point is what the Indian president's role has remained largely ceremonial, but gains significance during the political crisis and hung parliaments, right. The PM remains key decisions maker, right, in governments, however judicial rulings and political shifts continues to redefine the institutional relationship between two, right. So that was the end here. The next question of the BPSC previous year question paper on the base of it, I'm just trying to help you guys, and I'm still trying for the examination as well, because I'm newly here, right, in that particular preparation. So I'm just trying my best to go for it. So next question of BPSC previous year question paper mains, right, is Indian Federation is fundamentally rooted in two simultaneously pursuits of nationhood, right? So I have actually written that previous year question paper and the solution as well and the answers as well. So the point is that I'm just trying to elaborate that point of view and the questions and the answers as well to help you guys, right? Okay, so Indian federalism is fundamentally rooted in two simultaneous pursuits of nationhood. So an embrace of state-based cultural diversities and commitment to the larger Indian political community. Examine critically the nature of Indian model of federalism in the light of the above state. So let's get into it here. The nature of Indian federalism, a critical examination, right? So here, if I start from the introduction here, then the Indian model of federalism is unique. The Indian model of federalism is unique and distinct from classical federalism as seen in the United States or Australia. The given statement here highlights the dual objectives of Indian federalism here, recognizing and accommodating here state-based cultural diversities, and two is ensuring unity and stability of the larger Indian political community here. Unlike traditional federal system that emphasize equal power sharing between the central and state governments, right? India follows a quasi-federal model where the union government holds supremacy in crucial matters, right? At state retains significantly here autonomy. So here federal features. So the federal features of Indian constitution, right? So Indian federalism is designed to balance diversity of its states while maintaining national unity. The following features here reflect in federal natures here, dual government structure here. There are two levels of government, right? The central and the states. There are two levels of government here. First is central, second is states, right? So division of power here, seventh schedule. The constitution distributes power between the central and the state through three lists. Okay, union list, state list, and concurrent list. Okay, so union list is what? Union list is central subject like defense and foreign affairs, right? Second point is what? State list. Here state subjects like police, health, and agriculture. Concurrent list is what? Subject like education, criminal law, okay, forest, where both central and state can make laws, okay, but central law prevails in case of conflict, right? Written and rigid constitution. The constitution here explicitly defines the power of both levels of government, and amending here federal provisions requires special procedures. Independent judiciary, right? The Supreme Court resolves here disputes between the center and states. So unitary features of Indian federalism here, despite federal characteristics, India's model is often called quasi federal or cooperative federalisms with unitary bias. Okay, some features indicate central dominance here. First point is what? A strong central, Article 3 and 356. The center can alter state boundaries here, Article 3, and impose president's rule, Article 356, in case of constitutional failures. Okay, single citizenship is what? Here, unlike the US where citizens have dual citizenship, state and national here, right? India grants only Indian citizenship, reinforcing unity, right? So here emerging provisions here, Article 52, 52, Article 352, Article 356, and Article 360 here, emergency provisions, right? Emergency provisions here is what? 352, 356, and 360. During emergencies, the center can override state powers, making the system highly centralized. All India services here, IAS, IPS, IFS, these services are controlled by the center, but work in state administration, ensuring national administrative unity. So financial dependence of state here, the center collects most of the revenue and distributes it to states here, limiting their financial independence. Okay, so the next point is reconciling diversity and unity in Indian federalism. Okay, so recognition of cultural and linguistic diversities. Here, linguistic reorganization of state here, 1956. The accumulate, linguistic and cultural identities. States were recognized based on language here. Ensuring here, regional aspirations were respected. Especially status here to certain states, Article 370 and 371. Some states like Jammu and Kashmir before Article 70 was revoked, right? Jammu and Kashmir, before Article 370 was revoked, the northeast state were given a special provision to protest their unique culture. Official language policy here, Hindi and English serve as official language with state allows to have their own official languages to promote cultural diversities. Okay, commitment to national unity and integrity here, governor's role here, the governor appointed by the center ensures the state follow constitutional principle, interstate council and NITI Ayog, right, NITI Ayog, that we call Interstate Council and NITI Ayog. This institution promote cooperating federalism, ensuring central state collaboration, right. That federalism is what ensuring central state collaboration. Okay, Article 356 misuse debate here. The use president's rule in the past to dismiss state governments has been criticized as undermining federalism. Example here, SR Bommai case is when it happened 1994, which restricted its misuse. Okay, so here changing nature of Indian federalism in contemporary times here, rise of cooperative and competitive federalism here. Cooperative federalism is what the center and the state work together on national development project here, especially in policies like GST and NITI Ayog's initiatives here. Okay, competition federalism here, state compete with each other to attract investments and improve governance. Example here, ranking based on easy of doing business, right. Okay, so B is what here. Next point is challenges to Indian federalism. Okay, fiscal federalism issues. Right, state argue that the center retains more financial control here, affecting their autonomy. Example is what GST compensation debates. So political federalism issue is what here, central state conflicts arise here when different political parties govern the union and state, affecting governance coordination. Demand for greater state autonomy here. Some states, especially in South India, demands more financial and political independence due to disparities in tax distribution. So here the conclusion of the point is what here, the Indian model of federalism is dynamic and adaptive, right, balancing cultural diversity with national unity here. While it has federal features, strong central tendencies ensure that national integrity, right. Over time here, cooperative and competitive federalisms have strengthened central state relations, right. However, challenges here like financial imbalance and political conflicts continue to shape the evolving nature of Indian federalism here. The need of reforms in fiscal federalisms and greater decentralizations can further enhance the balance between state diversity and national unity, right. So the next point is the next question of BPSC previous year question paper, right, is here, discuss and analyze the fundamental principles of collision politics in Bihar from the point of view of the fulfillment of the national interest, specifically, right. Discuss and analyze the fundamental principles of collisions politics in Bihar from the point of view of the fulfillment of the national interest, especially, right. Interest especially here, collisions politics in Bihar here, and analyze from the perspective of national interest here. So I will start from the introduction here. Collision politics has been a defining feature of Bihar's political landscape for several decades. Unlike a state with a stable single party dominance here, Bihar has witnessed frequent alliances, shifting political loyalties and power sharing arrangements. These collisions are often formed based on caste dynamics, regional aspirations and ideological differences, but they also played a crucial role in shaping national policies and governance, right. Okay, from the national interest perspective, collision politics in Bihar has both advantages and challenges. While it promotes political representations, regional balance and democratic inclusivity, it also leads to instability, policy paralysis and opportunistic alliances that may hinder long-term development goals. So here the next point is the fundamental principle and the collision principle, the fundamental principles of collision politics in Bihar, right. So here collision politics in Bihar operates on several key principles, the power sharing here and regional representation. Collision ensure that diverse caste groups and regional interests find representation in governance. Parties like Janata Dal United is JDU, Rashtriya Janata Dal (RJD), Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), and Congress have often formed alliances to gain electoral advantage. This pluralistic approach here enhances social inclusion and minimize the dominance of a single party. Here caste based and social justice politics here. Bihar's politics is deeply rooted in caste identities. Coalition formations are often here influenced by Yadav, Kurmi Dalit and upper caste vote banks. So here party promise reservation benefits here, welfare schemes and representation to differ caste group. So here caste based and social justice politics here. Bihar politics is deeply rooted in caste identities. So coalition here formations are often influenced by Yadav, Kurmi, Dalit and upper caste vote banks. So parties promise reservation benefits here, welfare schemes and representations to differ caste groups to maintain their coalitions here. While this ensures inclusivity, it sometimes prioritizes identity, politics over governance efficiency, right? Ideological flexibility and opportunistic alliances. In Bihar, alliances here frequently shift based on electoral gains rather than ideological commitments. Example here include, which is totally included here, JDU switching alliances here. The alliances between BJP and RJD over the years, right? So this lack of ideological consistency can lead to policy instability and hinder national development goals. So stability versus instability in governance. So coalitions can be either ensure political stability through cooperation or cause governance instability due to internal conflicts. The frequent realignment of political parties in Bihar has led to mid-term elections and fractured mandates. Stable coalitions can contribute to national development, and while instability can derail policy implementation. So impact of coalition here, politics of national interest here. A positive first point is what? Positive contribution to national interest, federal strengthening and cooperative federalism. So coalitions in Bihar often demands greater state autonomy and fiscal support from the center. This strengthens federalism by ensuring the national policies reflect regional aspirations here. Example, Bihar demands for a strategy categories status to improve infrastructure and economic growth. So here inclusive governance and democratic deepening. Coalitions politics ensures that the regional voices are heard at the national level. The participation of multiple parties here promotes policy discussions, can caste equity, land reforms and economic development. Example here, Mandal Commission's implementation in 1990s was strongly backed by Bihar's coalition politics. So here check on centralized power here. A strong coalitions in Bihar can counterbalance excessive centralizations of power by ruling party at the center here. This prevents here authoritarian rule and ensures a multipolar democracy. So challenges to national interest here, policy instability and governance disruptions. Frequent governance collapse due to the shifting alliances created uncertainty in policy implementation. Here example, the repeated changes in alliances here, JDU, BJP, then JDU, RJD disrupted Bihar's long-term development plans here. Caste and vote bank policies over development. So coalition partners often focus on short-term electoral gains rather than long-term national policies. Resource here allocation may be guided by caste and religion. Appeasement sometimes at the cost of economic priorities. Example here, populist measures like loan waiver, subsidies without sustainable financial planning here. Weakened law and order. So unstable coalitions often led to weaker law enforcement and political compromises. Example here, Bihar has witnessed criminalization of politics, where coalition developments struggles to act against corrupt or criminal elements within their alliances. Hindrance to economic reforms. Coalition pressures some things block measures economic reforms needed to national progress. So for example here, the center's reforms on GST, land acquisition and privatizations often face opposition from regional coalitions partners. So evolves of Bihar's coalitions, politics in the national context here. Pre 1990s here, Congress dominance and limited coalitions here. Before Mandal's Commission 1990, Mandal Commission is when it happened. Mandal Commission in 1990s, right? Congress had stronghold in Bihar, and coalitions were minimum, right? So national policies were driven without a strong religion influence. In 1990s to 2005 here, rise of regional coalitions and social justice movement here. The rise of Lalu Prasad Yadav, the RJD, right, and Nitish Kumar JDU transforms Bihar's coalition politics. Okay, so here national parties BJP Congress had to align with strong region players. Impact here, Bihar coalition's politics became a key player in national OBC reservation policies and federal negotiation. So 2005 present here coalition fragmentation and national influence. Post 2005 here, Bihar's coalition politics has become highly volatile. National party like BJP and Congress need a strong regional partners that we call RJD and JDU for Bihar's electoral success. Recent trend here, frequent alliance shift. JDU, like example, JDU and BJP split in 2022. Recent trend is what frequent alliances shift. Example here, JDU BJP split in 2022. Impacting national policy alignment. Okay, so the future prospect of coalition politics in Bihar here, strengthening national development through stable alliances. So if coalitions are stable and ideological coherent, they can contribute positively to national economic policies. Bihar's role in its infrastructure growth, labor migration policies and educational sector reforms is crucial for national interest, right? So need for issue-based alliances rather than the opportunistic coalitions here. To fulfill national interest here, Bihar coalitions politics, should focus on economic development over caste politics. That's true. Here, stable leadership. Here, stable leadership. With a clear governance vision here, addressing national concerns like empowerment here, healthcare and industry rather than short-term electoral gains. Here, roles of emerging political trends here, rise of regional parties with a national agenda. May redefine Bihar's coalition landscape. Younger vote based is demanding governance over caste-based politics here, which may lead to more development-centric coalition. So the conclusion of the point is what coalition politics in Bihar has played a dual role in India's national interest. While it strengthens democratic representation and regional inclusivity, it also creates policy instability and governance challenges. A well-structured coalitions here model in Bihar can significantly contribute to India's national growth by balancing federalism here, social justice and economic progress. However, opportunistic alliances, caste-driven politics and frequent political alignments must be controlled to ensure the coalitions politics serve larger national interest, right? So the next point is here, the next question is elucidate and evaluate the local government and it working from the point of view of the empowerment of the Panchayat Raj and the city institution, with the example from the grassroots level in Bihar. So local government and its functioning, right? Local government and its functioning here, analyzing Panchayati Raj and urban institution in Bihar. So here I will start from the introduction. So here local government is the backbone of democracy. So the backbone of democracy is what? Local government. So right, so enabling here grassroots level participation, decentralized government and community driven development here. The 73rd and 74th constitution amendment empowered Panchayati Raj institution, PRIs, right, in rural area and urban local bodies, okay, ULBs that we call in cities here, ensuring self governance and local decision making, right? So in Bihar, local governments has played a crucial role in rural areas, in rural development, social justice and urban management, but challenges like bureaucratic interference here, corruption and lack of resources still exist. This analysis here evaluates the strengths, weaknesses and real world impact of local governments in Bihar. So structure of local government in Bihar. So Panchayati Raj institution that we call PRIs, rural local governance, right? Here Panchayati Raj in Bihar is a 3-tier state. Gram Panchayat, village level, direct elected representatives led by the Mukhia that we call the Pradhan of the particular Panchayat, right? Responsible for local development, welfare program and dispute resolution, right? And responsible for the local development, welfare programs and dispute resolutions. Panchayati Samiti, Panchayat Samiti, that we call the block level, Panchayat Samiti, intermediary, right, body here between Gram Panchayat and Jila Parishad here. Coordinates development here schemes across multiple village, right. Jila Parishad here, district level, that we call, oversees all Gram Panchayat and Panchayat Samitis here, work in collaboration with district administration and state government, right. So key feature in Bihar here, 50% of reservation for women in Panchayat, right. Scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other backward classes, right, we call OBC reservation to ensure social equity. Direct elections for Mukhia, village head, and ward members here. Implementation of welfare schemes like Manrega, PMA, right, PMAY, I mean to say, and PDS at the Panchayat level here. So urban local bodies, that we call ULBS, urban governance. So ULBS in Bihar are categorized into Nagar Panchayat, that we call towns council. Nagar Panchayat is what? Nagar Panchayat is town council for small towns. Nagar Parishad is what? Municipal council, right, for medium sized. So Nagar Nigam is what? Nagar Nigam is municipal corporation for large city like Patna, Gaya and Muzaffarpur, right. Key responsibility of ULBs. Urban level of responsibilities. What are the responsibility of urban levels, right? Urban planning here, waste management and road construction, water supply and public health services, slum rehabilitations and housing scheme like PM Awas Yojana, right. Urban here, collection of property tax, business licensing and regulation of urban markets, right. Smart city and AMRUT, that we call Atal mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation initiatives, right. Okay, so here empowerment of Panchayati Raj and urban institution in Bihar, that we called here, strengths and achievements here, grassroots level decision making here. Decentralized governance has allowed village to prioritize local needs like sanitation, irrigation and education. Women's participation has increased due to 50% reservation for women in panchayats. Okay, so direct funding and financial autonomy. Panchayat receives funds from state finance commission and central government. I mean to say that central government scheme. Local institutions have the authority to implement rural employment and infrastructure project, social inclusion and empowerment here. SC/ST OBC have gained political representation, reducing here historical marginalization, right. So women Mukhia, that we call the leader of the head of the village, right. Leaders have led sanitation drives and self-help groups, that we call SHG, right, initiatives in many villages, right. I will repeat again that women Mukhia, right, the leader of the village, right, of the panchayat, I'm to say. Okay, so here leaders have led sanitation drives and self-help group SHG initiatives in many villages. Implementation of welfare scheme here, Manrega has provided rural employment. Public distribution system here, PDS and midday meal scheme are managed at the local level here. Urban reforms and smart city here, Patna, Muzaffarpur, Bhagalpur are the part of the small city mission, improving urban infrastructure and governance. So here the next point is challenges and limitation here. Bureaucratic and political interference here. Local bodies often lack real power and distinct and state authorities dominate decision making. Many panchayats depend on bureaucrats for fund allocation. Corruption and fund mismanagement, right. Case of leakage in welfare schemes and misuse of funds are reports here. Ghost beneficiaries in schemes like PDS and Manrega. So lack of awareness and training here. Many elected representative lack administrative knowledge and rely on officials, right. Okay, so limited technical support for digital governance and e-governance initiatives, right. So here resources constraints. Okay, panchayats and municipalities face here shortage of skilled staff, right, financial resources and technological infrastructure. Many villages lack proper road, right, the sanitation and electricity despite government programs here. Slow urban development here, unregulated urbanizations and poor municipal services in cities like Patna and Gaya. Water logging here. Okay, traffic congestion and pollution remain major urban issues, right? So the grassroots level here, example of Bihar, success story here, women mukhia in Nevada district here, a women mukhia led a sanitation campaign, ensuring 100% household toilets, under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, organized self-help group SHGS, for women entrepreneurship. Manrega implementation in Gaya here, rural employment provides to thousands of laborers, reducing seasonal migration here, pond rejuvenation and water conservation here projects were successfully implemented. So Patna Smart City mission here is traffic monitoring through CCTV surveillance and modern waste disposal systems here implemented. New urban transport project, digital governance initiated and street light project launched. Next point is what? Failure caste. Okay, so corruption in PDS distribution in Sitamarhi, local ration dealers diverted food grains meant for poor families. Despite complaints here, action was delayed due to political interference. So water logging crisis in Patna 2019 here, urban municipal governance failed during 2019 Patna floods, right? Exposing lack of drainage management. Despite the smart city project here, infrastructure failure caused major urban distress, right? So way forward for stronger local governance in Bihar here, strengthening local leadership, right? Strengthening local leadership, capability here, building program for panchayat representatives to enhance their governance skill, right? More training in digital governance and financial management here, reducing bureaucratic dominance here, right? Clear role divide between state administration and local bodies to ensure autonomy. Okay, direct fund transfers, like direct fund transfers to panchayats and ULBS, right, without excessive bureaucratic control. So transparency and accountability here, social audits, right, for schemes like Manrega and PDS to prevent corruption, right? Online tracking of panchayat budgets and expenditures for public monitoring. Strengthening urban infrastructure, right? Okay, so expansion of metro road networks and sustainable urban planning in Patna and other cities here. More focus on waste management and water drainage. Okay, encouraging public participation here, Gram Sabha meetings and urban citizens forums should be more attractive, so it should be more active. Okay, so digital governance tools for direct grievance redressal. So the conclusion, the point is what? Local governance in Bihar has made significant progress in empowering here marginalized communities here, implementing welfare schemes and urban modernization. However, bureaucratic interference, corruption and lack of resources continue to hinder effective governance. Strengthening panchayati raj and urban local bodies with greater financial autonomy, transparency and public participation can make them truly self-reliant and development driven. So these are the point of that particular question, right? So the next point is here, analyze the mechanism and characteristic of Indian monsoon system, right? So Indian monsoon system here, a mechanism and characteristics here, right? Introduction, I will start from the introduction here, as you know that I always start from the introduction of that particular question, right? So the Indian monsoon is complex climatic phenomenon that significantly influences the agriculture, economy and livelihood of millions in the country, right? It characterized by seasonal a reversal of winds bringing heavily rainfall in summer and dry conditions in winter. The monsoon system is primarily controlled by differential heating of land and oceans, like shifting of pressure belts and jet streams. So this analysis focus on the mechanisms, characteristics and impact of the Indian monsoon here, which is integral part of the global climate system, right? Mechanism of the Indian monsoon here, factors influencing the monsoon here, in differential heating of land and ocean. During summer, land mass of Indian heat up quickly. In summer, land mass of India heats up quickly, creating a low pressure zone over the Indian subcontinent, right? So the Indian Ocean remains relatively cooler, maintaining a high pressure system. This pressure difference cause moisture laden winds from the ocean to move towards the lands, leading to rainfall. Okay, so shifting of ITCZ. Okay, here intertropical convergence zone. So the ITCZ, okay, shifts northward, okay, over India in summer, attracting monsoon winds from the Indian Ocean, right? So this zone of convergence and convection enhances rainfall activities. So role of jet stream is what? The subtropical westerly jet streams here weakens during summer, allowing here monsoon currents to enter India, right? So the tropical eastern jet stream here strengthens, further pushing the monsoon into the Indian subcontinent, right? So EI Nino, that we call the LANINA effects here, so weakens the monsoon by disrupting oceanic temperature patterns and wind circulation, right? So then monsoon activity here bringing above normal rainfall. So Tibetan plateau and monsoon winds here. The Tibetan plateaus acts as a heat resource, intensifying the low pressure over India, right? So the Tibetan plateau acts as a heat source, right, intensifying the low pressure area over India. This strengthens the southwest monsoon winds coming from the Arabic Sea and west Bay of Bengal, right? So here phases of Indian monsoon, southwest monsoon June to September. The southwest monsoon is June to September, also known as the summer monsoon, right? Okay, summer monsoon, this phase brings heavily rainfall. It has two branches, Arabic Sea branch here causes rainfall over the western coast here, Western Ghat and central India. Bay of Bengal branch here moves towards northeast India and then to northern plains, right? So here orographic barriers like the Western Ghat and Himalayas play a crucial role in rainfall distribution. So retreating monsoon here October to November, as the landmass here cools, right? Landmass cools, right? High pressure develops over North India, pushing monsoon winds back to the ocean, right? So this phase brings post monsoon showers, cyclones and retreating rainfalls over Tamil Nadu and parts of the east coast. Characteristics of Indian monsoon here, seasonal reversal of wind here. The moon is marked by the reversal of wind direction twice a year. So in summer, winds blow from the sea to the land. In summer, winds blow from the sea to the land, while in winter they move from the land to the sea, right? So that's the conversation here, and the transformation here, if I'm talking about the moons, is marked by the reversal, that called the reversible conditions, right, of the wind direction twice a year, right? What is happening here in summer? What is happening here? winds blow from sea to land. From sea to land, it's reverse, right? So, and then in winter, in winter they move from land to sea. So that here uneven distribution of rainfall, right? The monsoon is not uniform across India. Here Western Ghat, here northeast states and coastal regions receive heavily rainfall. Rajasthan, Gujarat and interior Deccan experiences lower rainfall. Okay, so orographic and cyclonic influence here. The Western Ghat receives heavy rainfall due to windward side upliftment, right? So here the leeward side remains relatively dry. Monsoon winds also interact with cyclonic distribution in Bay of Bengal, right? So onset and withdrawal variability. The onset of the monsoon begins in Kerala around June 1 and advances northward. The retreat starts from the northwest India in September and moves southward, right? Monsoon breaks and variability. Sometimes the monsoon experiences breaks, period of no rain here due to atmospheric changes. This fluctuation affect agriculture and water availability. Okay, so here impact of Indian economy here. Agriculture is monsoon dependent as over 50% of farmland lacks of irrigation. Lacks of irrigation here. Deficient monsoons lead to drought, crop failure and inflation, right? So excess here rainfall results in flood, right, landslides and infrastructure damage. So these are the point of it. So the conclusion of the point is, the India monsoon system is a dynamic and complex climatic phenomenon, crucial for the country's economy and ecology. While it brings life-sustaining rain and its variability right, poses here challenges such as food such as floods and droughts, I mean to say, right? So I will start again. The conclusion of the point is what here: the Indian monsoon system is a dynamic and complex here climatic phenomenon. Okay, so crucial for the country's economy and ecology. While it's bring life-sustaining rain here, right? It's variability, right, poses challenges, I mean to say, such as floods and droughts, right? So understanding its mechanism and patterns help in better weather predictions and disaster management and agriculture planning as well. So that's the point of it. So yeah.